We are going to talk to Xeno in South Korea. For those of you who do not know, Xeno has called in before and is usually very bad at staying on topic. So we're going to see if we can get him to stay on this argument. So Robert, I want you to feel free to take away whatever you want here. We're going to be talking about the ontological argument for God.
All right.
Xeno, welcome back to the show.
Hey.
Hey.
What's happening, Xeno?
What's going on?
I'm just hanging, man.
Contrary to popular belief, I can stay on topic. It just sounds like the things that I talk about, they go off topic because they're a bit bizarre, but I'll try to circle back around to show you how the things I'm explaining
Beautiful. We love that. We love that for us. Let's go.
Come on with it.
Yes.
You've got ontological evidence for God.
Ontology. One entity has to depend on another. This phone call has to depend on the phone that I'm using. So if everything is divisible in life, how does this prove a God? Well, we have to describe why the wording is not important, but the thing is. So God, let's just start off by defining God.
Great idea.
God could be defined by so many different ways, right? It's subjective. But I would say God is just the beginning of your existence.
Wait.
The very origin point.
My existence personally? Like
everyone's existence. Everyone.
Okay, so the you're talking about here is everything, not like the orgasm that my parents had back in the day.
I'm pretty sure my dad having sex with my mom.
We're going to the beginning.
Okay.
We're going to the very beginning.
Okay. Very beginning.
Right.
Origin point,
yes,
allegedly.
Yes, the origin point. And so the way we get here is not by talking about the bearded man in the sky, because again, everyone knows that I don't agree that this person exists. I'm just saying God is an entity, and so you depend on something else. You can't be not neutral to depending on something else. Like the surface of an apple depends on the apple. So you have to have the apple first in order to have the surface. And you yourself, you have existence because you depend on something else. You are contingent upon something else. And that's how you get all the way back to God. And I don't have to describe exactly what God looks like or what shape it is or what color it is, but we know that you depend on something, and that thing depends on something, and you can go all the way back.
Xeno,
now, I can't tell you exactly
let me holler at you, my man. Hold on.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good. I'm not going to lie to you. I think I just heard about 3 minutes of nothing but assertions.
Okay.
Well, no, it's just I'm contingent on something else. I'm dependent on something else to exist. Is that what you're saying?
Ontologically speaking, yes, you are. And if you say that you're not, then you would be arguing magic.
Well, I'm not arguing. So again, I can speak for myself. And as gruesome of a thought as it is, my dad fucked my mom 50 years ago. And I'm sure in 19, whenever Mama and Papa, that's how I got my mom. Big Mama and Big Bart, that's how I got my dad. And we can keep spinning this backwards until, we get to, the first single-celled, whatever we want to call it. I'm not a scientist, I'm a fighter. But as far as I know scientifically, that's as far back as we've been able to peel this onion back. So, I mean, can you come with something stronger other than saying it just has to be? Because if you can, I can tell you right now, you need to get on the plane, my man, because you're about to get a Nobel.
No scientist would argue against the origins of ontology. So I'm coming at this from the approach of just ontological dependence. So that's not just, this is what I think it is. Everywhere you look, everything depends on something else. The chair, if you're sitting down, I can't see. You sitting down depends on the chair that exists. Right? And so, yes, we do have to keep folding it back. And for you not to fold it back would be you saying, well, things just sort of appear.
Xeno?
But things don't just, yes.
They kind of do at the level of molecular biology that people have started exploring for the last 50 years. The reason that quantum physics is quantum physics and people are freaked out by it is because things do just kind of appear. Like, there are no rules that we understand at that level yet. That all that said, there's a set problem here. Okay, you're getting your sets mixed up. There's the set of the things that we experience in our day-to-day life, which you are correct about, right? We need a chair to sit on the chair. Cool. That makes sense. That is how it works in this set. But we have no evidence. We have no evidence that the requirements for the set here. Xeno, do you have it on speakerphone or do you have us on in the background? Because we've got a lot of echo.
Let me turn the volume down. That's no speakerphone.
Cool. Perfect.
All right,
thank you. It's a problem that you are putting the requirements of your set A onto this hypothetical set B, which is something that began something beyond time, something beyond space. If we're making the claim that everything that exists in set A, right, the cause and effect that rules this set applies to set B, then set B by definition cannot exist because it is by definition not part of time or space or affected by cause and effect. So you can't at once say the rules of set A apply to set B while also telling me that set B plays by completely different rules because it started without time, without space, and is a cause of everything without an effect itself. Do you understand where that's a problem?
Well, I wouldn't say God is not contingent upon other things.
Oh.
Most Christians or other religious folk may say that God is the end-all, be-all. Now, that's a separate discussion if we're going to discuss what God is contingent upon. So we're just talking about God itself. And so you said that God, so let's take it this way. If I program time and matter into a game, I'm able to invoke these properties, even though I might be bound by some type of time, but that may be a different type of time. I'm not going to go down the route of meta time or the different types of time there may be, or abstract properties that might exist. But what I will say is that I was talking to my wife the other day, and I explained it kind of like modding. This is like a open source code that's open for grabs. So once you create the code, anyone can modify it. So I'm not saying God is the creator of time, space, and matter. What I am saying is that once the life code is out there, little organisms, bacteria, and entities can interact with that code and then build upon it. But, however, you still have that origin point. That origin point does not cease to exist. It had to be there. And that origin point is, I'm just calling that God, basically.
I'm sorry. It just
so they call that the singularity, by the way. And
dude, I got to jump in. I'm sorry. You've done a lot of talking, but you haven't said much. There's a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm really am trying to follow your train of thought here. So I'm going to try and plug some stuff in. Tell me if I'm getting it, because I've heard this. Are you a Christian, Xeno?
No, I am a deist.
Okay, well, because it kind of sounds like the whole, what is it? God does not depend on space, time, and matter, therefore he can create the... So is that kind of where you're going with that?
God does not depend on space, time, and matter, just like my programs itself. The time that I program in doesn't depend ultimately on me, but the tools that I use. So you could say that. Okay,
then why not? Why does your God not, or creator God, why does this being, entity as you called it, why does it not depend on space, time, and matter?
Because it's before space, time, and matter. So
how did you get to that point?
You're contingent upon.
Right. Okay. That's what I'm saying when I said earlier. This just sounds like a whole bunch of assertions.
Well,
How do you know my blind
ontology.
Bishan free
That's why I said to the call
wasn't before time,
ontological
space, and matter?
dependence.
Say
One
that again?
entity has to depend on another. That's
Right.
what has to happen in your reality, in my reality.
Right, and you
That's what
said
we see.
that.
Everything is divisible by 2.
Right, and you have
Right.
said that, and now you've peeled this thing back to the point to where this entity does not need time, space, and matter. And you're saying, and there's your special exception. And so I'm asking you, how is it that your entity, or whatever it is, does not depend on time, space, and matter? How do you know my Jack Russell Terrier is not that special being?
All right, so you have X depends on Y.
You
Z
stated that.
depends on Y. So you can keep going back, right? So we know like space, time, and matter is what we observe, but who says that's the end all be all? I'm not saying that God is after space, time, and matter. I'm saying that space, time, and matter itself also has to depend on something. Because space, time, and matter could have appeared, sure, but it still has a reason why it showed up. And remember, we're going back to the very beginning. If we're talking about God, the
Xeno,
beginning.
I'm not getting past this problem with sets, because you keep saying it cannot be X because we see that in set A, but you're talking about a set that has no shared properties. You're saying we see that things depend on each other. Therefore, this other thing that doesn't play by those rules must also play by those rules. You're making a set of rules that I agree with for this world. Exactly, right? Cause and effect. And you're saying this other thing that doesn't play by those rules must exist because of those rules, right? You can't jump back and forth like that. If you're going to say that thing can't exist because of these rules, you're going to have to come up with something else.
I see what you're saying now.
Yeah.
So I'm not invoking the same properties that we have to this God. So I'm not saying God had to play by these rules. Kind of like the programmer of Halo doesn't have to play by the rules of Halo. You just basically start off with a blank space and then you program Halo.
Right,
so
but what you're saying
itself,
you're using the rules of the game Halo and the program to prove the programmer. And you just said that they don't have to play by each other's rules. So you're saying because the program of Halo works this way, there must be a creator that doesn't follow those rules. And that doesn't make sense.
God damn it, V. Well, I've taken up too much time already. I think I'm going to run circles, but this is the last thing I'll say, and then I'll just go ahead and let you guys move on to other callers.
Yeah.
Well, my main argument, and I'll try to call back next Sunday if you take the call.
Yeah, please do.
My main argument is simply ontology. And so I'm trying to prove God with ontological dependence. So the surface of this can't exist unless you have the can. So the surface of the can doesn't have the same properties as the can itself. So you would say, if I will, it's less than the actual can itself. So the surface of the can is less than.
Wait,
because it can't. Sorry.
Okay. So
these are some kick-ass.
We're gonna have to work on the number of metaphors that we put into these conversations. We've got like 1 or 2 max. Next week, please do call back. I want to continue this because I think we hit on exactly where we're different. Okay.
I enjoy you guys.
Good job, Xeno, man. That was all right. That was all right.
All right. Thank you. Take
Thank
care.
you. Bye.
My man did a lot of talking.
Oh my God.
Man, we had apples, we had tomato cans, we had a whole bunch of shit.
We had halos.
There was a word in there I did not recognize.
Sitting on the chair,
the chair.
Yeah. And this is what happens a lot with Xeno. I'm excited because I think we got farther on that call than we have in a very long time.
That was far?
That was far. That was a good call. For Xeno.
Like I said, Xeno, I'm sure he's a tremendous human being. He doesn't kick puppies, but he did a lot of talking and didn't say a goddamn thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's what ontology will get you a lot of the time.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
I'm all about the ontology now.
Oh my gosh. No, I'm not actually.
Not if that's ontology, I'm not about it.